Hello, today is Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. I'm Lori with Unity Environmental University. Welcome to my brief capstone presentation on my paper, Evaluation of Species Conservation Strategies and Their Applicability for Preservation of the Endangered Savu Python, Lyaeus savuensis. This capstone project is the final step for me to earn my bachelor's degree in animal health and behavior before moving on to a master's program. My research question is, how can lessons learned from the conservation efforts and strategies applied to other island snake species and species in similar geographically isolated situations be adapted and utilized to inform and improve the conservation of the endangered Savu python in its unique island habitat on Savu Island, Indonesia? Savu pythons are non-venomous constrictor snakes. Their adult size is about 4 to 5 feet long, and they are native only to Savu Island in Indonesia. The IUCN designated them as endangered in 2019, and their declining numbers are likely due to habitat loss and the illegal pet trade. Savus are listed under CITES Appendix 2, but no local conservation or habitat protection measures are in place on the island they are native to. This island experiences periods of extreme drought during certain times of the year, making resources scarce for humans and animals. And because of this, a conservation program strategy that involves the locals and getting local buy-in into the importance of the snakes is going to be imperative, because these people are quite frankly worried about their own survival and not thinking about these snakes. My justification for this study is that snakes on islands are crucial for ecosystem health. They are part of the food web. They serve as pest control and as seed dispersal engineers. My methodology to conduct this research was a literature search of peer-reviewed articles through November 2023, and then personal communication with Savu python keepers, breeders, and a geneticist. I was able to identify gaps in research and make recommendations for a project moving forward. My literature review was quite extensive, and some key points from that include conservation insights from Daltrey's paper, Henderson's paper, and Bobak's paper. These provided specific information about other snake species, including those on islands and snake populations that were isolated, and that is the situation these Savu pythons are in. Public programs were highlighted in several of the papers. Specifically, the Daltrey paper talked about an Antiguan racer project and how they raised public awareness through education, community involvement, including media coverage, and how they made policymakers aware of the plight of these snakes. That's going to be important for our Savu python conservation project. There were lots of lessons about genetics and how to prevent inbreeding depression from Klemova's paper. And genetic diversity in geographically constrained populations is very important. It's going to require continued genetic monitoring and collaboration with geneticists and conservation biologists so that any captive breeding program is successful and maintains a healthy level of heterozygosity. So genetic management was a big part of what I learned in this research. We need to establish genetic monitoring to track genetic diversity and prevent inbreeding. And then we also need to make sure that we are restoring any disturbed areas on Savu Island and reducing any further fragmentation, preserving the wild areas that are already left, and then creating some safe spaces on the island for the Savus. We need to educate the community on Savu python conservation, how to assist with data collection, and to create outreach programs, just emphasizing the importance of the human-snake relationship and how there are mutual benefits there. Captive snake welfare cannot be forgotten. The health and well-being of Savu pythons under captive management for conservation breeding has to include veterinary care, ideal nutrition, enrichment, provision of agency for these animals whose freedom is being taken away, and opportunities to perform innate behaviors. In conclusion, a proactive, adaptable approach drawing from similar efforts should guide the shaping of a sustainable and effective Savu python conservation program moving forward. My recommendations include to implement a stud book and track genetic diversity in any breeding populations, both wild and captive, to collaborate with institutions, private keepers, and conservationists, to leverage any Savu pythons that are already in captivity and use them for public education, awareness, and conservation programs so that we can facilitate engagement and kind of build a personal connection between people and these pythons. Education and outreach can certainly inspire action globally, but we really need to focus on the local community there on Savu Island because the humans there often struggle themselves, and we need to give them legitimate reasons why they should care about helping these snakes. This is a list of my full references that I used to produce the paper. I'm happy to provide a copy of my paper. It is 25 pages long, and I have an additional paper specifically on a proposed conservation breeding plan that's 27 pages long. So if you're really into snakes or really into Savu pythons or think you might be interested in helping me get this program started, then I'm certainly happy to provide those documents to you. And until then, everybody, please remember to always be kind and love your animals.